When I see you, when I met you, realize that you love the Indian culture. All your social media is about showcasing your traditional attires. The events that you organize and go to in US is also involving Indian culture. So, do you consider you have the best of both worlds?
Absolutely. I think I am just so grateful that not only did I get to grow up in the US, but I also got to come back and be really close to my roots here. And then over the last 5 to 7 years, I've started building my own network. And it's been such a privilege to really pick and choose what I love about my culture and the US.
Growing up in a Western country with Desi parents, oh my God, what challenges did you face?
Something unique about diaspora parents is that they are stuck in a different version of India, right? So there were points where I would do more American things and he thought I was being a bad child.
Oh my gosh, yes, as a teenager growing up in a foreign country with Desi parents, Ashni.
Yeah, I was definitely a rebellious kid, so they had their hands full.
So, what is your role in politics?
So I would be considered a VP of marketing at some of the bigger nonprofits.
So, Trump winning, how does it affect you?
It affects everyone in America in different capacities.
Hi everyone, I'm Reena Augustine from Indoz Television. Today, the Community Impact has the privilege to talk to Ashni Mehta, who is from the US and is the founder of 4 AM Creative. Hi Ashni.
Hi, Reena. So good to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So 4 AM Creative, the amount of parties and the places you go, and I see your Instagram, I never thought that you are a morning person.
You know what? First of all, I am a morning person, surprisingly enough. But this name was brought from realizing that it's for people who think and know that what you do at 4 a.m. matters just as much as what you do between the hours of 9 to 5. So it's for people, whether it's brands or nonprofits or creators, who are so passionate about what they do, whether they're getting their beauty rest or they find their inspiration at 4 a.m. at a party, or they're just jet lagged or on a flight. No matter what you're doing at 4 a.m., it's impacting how you do your work.
It's a marketing agency?
It is a marketing agency and a creative consulting firm. So we do traditional marketing, but what we also focus on is figuring out how to position your brand, what you can bring to the table or what products you can bring to the table from the outside perspective that don't exist. And so that's why it brings this unique global perspective, and it's why I'm able to travel so much and live across the world.
Isn't it amazing that something that you love doing and it allows you to travel, you love traveling too? Yeah. How many countries have you traveled, Ashni?
I think we are almost at 40. I think we're on 38 or 39 right now.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, when I see you, when I met you, and I actually realized that you love the Indian culture. All your social media is about showcasing your traditional attires. The events that you organize and go to in US is also involving Indian culture. So, do you consider you have the best of both worlds?
Absolutely. I think I am just so grateful that not only did I get to grow up in the US, but I also got to come back and be really close to my roots here. And then over the last 5 to 7 years, I've started building my own network separate from my family. And it's been such a privilege to really pick and choose what I love about my culture and the US. And most importantly, something that has been occurring to me over the last couple of years is, especially in the US and even here, there's this idea of the ABCD, right? The American born confused Desi. And I am over it. I'm like, there's no part of me that is confused. I wear both of these identities so proudly and so openly, and I'm never going to pick, and I can just be both, and without any sort of confusion, I'm just owning it.
Oh my God, I've never heard of ABCD.
There's a book, it's like people from India will call more Americanized people, ABCDs, and it's, I guess, like their version of FOB, like kind of pushing back on that narrative, which I fully understand. But it's also such a part of the conversation in the US, right? You'll see so many people and so many South Asian and Indian creators talking about the immigrant experience and how they struggled. And I did struggle. There's definitely challenges, but like if I look back on, let's say, the last decade of my life, there have been so many more positives than negatives that that narrative just no longer applies to me, and I'm just so grateful for that.
So good to hear that, because migrating to a new country is not easy. But you were born and brought up there?
Yes, I was born and raised in New York, but my parents moved just before I was born. So I think like the last week that my mom could travel is when they moved. So I was raised quite Indian. So I learned Gujarati way before I learned English. I celebrated my first birthday here without my parents. So I think I've always kind of been connected to India in a way that maybe a lot of people haven't had the opportunity to do so.
ओह वाह, तो आप हिंदी अच्छे से बोल सकते हैं?
थोड़ा थोड़ा
थोड़ा थोड़ा गुजराती बोलता आवड़े છે?
Gujarati
Fluently.
एकदम.
Oh my God. So that means your parents just moved when you were about to be born, यानी कि आप देसी parents के under brought up हुए हैं.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, now, growing up in a Western country with Desi parents, oh my God, what challenges did you face?
All of them. I think something unique about diaspora parents is that they are stuck in a different version of India, right? So my dad left India in 1990, and that was the version he'd always had in his head. So there were points where I would do more American things and he thought I was being a bad child. And he'll be like, I'm going to send you to school in India. And I was like, I promise you they're worse. Like, I don't know, whatever school you're thinking of sending me to, they're doing the exact same things I'm doing because the world has moved forward. And you just don't know that because you're stuck in a different version of India and Bombay. And so really trying to get them to understand that was such a challenge. I think I started a lot of fights in my house, I'm not gonna lie. But, you know, I'm also really grateful for that too, because today I can honestly say my parents know every single thing about my life. I'm so open with them. I'm so honest about what I'm doing, what I'm not. And that is so, I think just a form of relief and like just something that I think a lot of children lack, a relationship that they lack, that openness.
Yeah.
Knowing that you're not hiding anything from your parents see you and accept you fully as you are and support you fully as you are is actually just such a blessing. So it was a hard, you know, especially in my teenage years, it was a hard journey. But again, it's something that I am just so grateful for and see as a blessing today.
Oh my gosh, yes, as a teenager growing up in a foreign country with Desi parents, Ashni.
Yeah, I was definitely a rebellious kid, so they had their hands full.
So you're the youngest?
I'm the oldest, so I had to really fight the way. My brother had it so easy compared to me because I did all the hard fighting, but it was worth it.
Okay, I thought you were the youngest, so it was easy for you to navigate and get out. Okay, so you had to be the example.
I was always the example. I am the oldest granddaughter. I'm the only granddaughter, and I'm the oldest grandchild on both sides of my family.
Okay,
Yeah.
a lot of pressure there.
So lots of pressure. Always kind of in the spotlight, and they're very protective of me, which I understand. But I think, yeah, just once I got to really have that conversation with my parents about accepting me as I am and understanding that, like, I am an American and an Indian and I can be both, the rest of my family also started to understand, and it was just
I
that
love
whole
that.
experience. has
Support from the family, friends is so important. You grew up in the middle of New York
Yes.
City.
been, yes. So I was born in Queens, in New York City, and then my parents moved to the suburbs. So I did my schooling in suburbia, and then now I've been back and forth out of the city.
So for me, I always think that there are two amazing places people can grow up. It's either Mumbai or it's New York.
Those
All right.
are the two best cities in the world. And like, honestly, I can't imagine being from anywhere else. And I get to call the two best cities in the world home. And it's just a dream. Like, it's a dream.
So Ashni, you are into politics?
I am into politics.
Okay. So before getting deep into it, what's your qualification?
So I have worked at some of the biggest think tanks in the U.S., focusing on voting rights, criminal justice, and immigration reform. And then I've also worked on economic policy. So if you've looked at some of the nonprofits or some of the the brands and organizations that are putting out reports that inform policies that lawmakers will enact. I've done research and done marketing for almost all of the biggest
Okay,
ones.
so that's what you studied.
I didn't. I studied psychology, and then I started working in the media space, and I wanted to have more of an opinion and more of a voice, and be able to say things without feeling the need to be fully objective all the time, because I think that you need to apply context.
Okay, the reason I asked you is majority of the people who actually choose their career, their qualification is not matching to what they
Yes.
do, and you are one of the example. That's the reason I asked. But knowing that you have done psychology must have helped you in every aspect of your life.
It really does, because it's just a basic understanding of how people operate and think, right? And as an organizer, what I focus on is using the internet and social media and SMS and all of these new technology advancements and tools that we have to help shape people's understanding of policy and how it works. And so one of the biggest things that matters is like, what are the right words to say to make you understand this is important? Or why is this important to you? What is going to help you go out and vote for this candidate? All of these things are, basic human psychology. And so I think having that background has been so, so helpful.
I love that. So, what is your role in politics?
So I would be considered a VP of marketing at some of the bigger nonprofits. So in the American landscape, in policy, in politics, you will have the people who are running elections and to run campaigns. And I've run a few campaigns from my agency. But then there's also all of these nonprofits whose job is to do research and say, hey, these are the laws we need to pass these goals. Or then they'll mobilize. So there's all these people that have 2 million community members that they reach out to, and they're like, you need to go vote here, you need to go to this town hall and talk to your legislator so we can do this on the local level. And then there are people who go to the lawmakers and lobby them and say, can you prioritize this community of people? So there's all these different players in the game that you may not know of if you're not from the US, but they're the ones that actually make the impact and are pushing the people who are in power to prioritize certain things over others.
So, politics. Is there anyone in your family who is into this?
No, I was the first. I also didn't see it coming for myself. My parents definitely did not expect it. But it's something that fell into my lap, and I had a natural affinity for it. And for the first time in my life, maybe not the first time, but one of the first times, I felt like I had a purpose bigger than myself. And it's motivated me in so many ways. So I just stuck with it for almost 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
That's a long time. So, Trump winning, how does it affect you, your
I think
people?
it affects everyone in America in different capacities. As a woman, I'm constantly worried about certain rights being taken away, whether that's birth control or abortion, or just our general sense of safety. Just recently, we heard about ICE going into gurudwaras and looking for illegal aliens to deport them. And this happened yesterday. And as they are rounding up these people to deport, they have also rounded up citizens and so much as like a former military veteran, right? Someone who has served in the military has just been questioned by ICE. And so it makes me feel unsafe. Like, are you assuming I am not a legal citizen because of the color of my skin? They're not going to predominantly white areas, whether they're Irish, Italian, or Russian, and trying to deport and round up citizens there, right? They're going into very targeted places with people with colored skin or dark skin and targeting them. And so it makes me feel unsafe for me, but more importantly for my family. Like, I feel that I have the knowledge and the calm to handle myself in a situation like this, and the resources in the network. I don't know that my parents and their friends, for example, would have the same thing. And I didn't think after over 30 years of living in a country that like this is what we would have to think about.
This is scarier than I thought what it was actually. Wow. About this Gurudwara thing that you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, so they first went in New Jersey. That was the first time we had heard, this is only a couple of days ago, the first time we had heard that they were rounding up citizens and even a veteran. And then I think just yesterday or the day before, they said that they were targeting Gurudwaras.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that, unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong, that mandirs and mosques will be next.
Next, yeah. So colored people, basically. Okay. Okay, this is what I heard, that he mentioned that it'll be only two genders, male and female. What's your view on that?
I think my personal take is that it's a silly policy. Multiple genders have scientifically been proven, but have always existed in America, and you're not going to take that away. Once certain rights have been granted, it is very difficult to be the person that is taking those away. And so you don't get to just like walk in and be like, okay, this doesn't exist anymore once we've made it a part of our society. And I also, generally speaking, think that the government needs to mind its own business.
Yes.
It's like what my gender is or what the person next to me's gender is just the government has better things to do.
Yeah.
Like do anything else. Worry about why our education system is not doing well.
Medical?
Yeah, our medical system, I don't even get started on that. We should be concerning ourselves with why we're in so many wars. There are so many things for us to be worried about that is not people's genders.
Talking about divorces, you just mentioned. So nowadays, right now as we speak, India is one of the countries the divorce rates are getting high. What is your opinion on that?
I think that's incredible. I think for the first time in India, women feel like they have agency and the ability to leave unhappy or abusive marriages. Do I advocate for divorce? Absolutely not. In an ideal world, I think that women should be able to choose and marry men who treat them well and support them and their families and don't ever need to get divorced. But if anyone needs to, I think that they should have the ability and the agency to walk away from something that no longer makes them happy for their own good, for the betterment of their kids, for everyone. I think ultimately having a family and members of your family who are all happy and able to exist in a way that they can thrive is a net good for everyone in the family and society.
So you just mentioned that the women should walk away. What about the men? I have seen a lot of women controlling the men. So it applies to both sides, right?
Absolutely. I think from my understanding, obviously women have less agency to leave because they won't have money. They don't have anywhere, their families might not take them back. So I find that for the most part, men may be able to leave more often than not because at least they're working and their families will accept them. But this is not a one sex versus the other. This is everyone should be, I think your life partner is the most important and pivotal decision in your life, and you should be with the person that is making you the best version of yourself. And so if you're married to someone that isn't able to give you that, then you should find a way to amicably walk away and find the person that can.
I love that. And also I think that the educated women now really understand that what they have to do, especially even after having kids.
Agreed. I think, there was a time where women thought that the best thing to do was keep the family together. But I think now people are starting to realize is the best thing you can do is show your daughter what a happy mother looks like or a happy father looks like. And a happy relationship, right? Like what you normalize in your family is what your child is going to normalize in their future. That is their idea of a healthy relationship. That is their idea of what they are used to and what they want, because that is the bar that you are setting for them. So if your relationship with your significant other or your in-laws or anyone in your family is not good, it is on you to improve it or walk away and show them that they can get better, because that is the standard you are setting.
So overseas, right? Wherever I have been, traveled, I see that there's amicable divorces happening between a man and a woman, and they live happily, right? And I used to wonder, why is it like in India, it's always bad, divorces? I work in a law firm, so I came across a lot. And that's when I realized that when you're not happy, you sit down and discuss and leave. You have a prenup, so the problem is not there. The prenup clearly clears out. I think there should be certain laws, there might be, put in that way that the woman is not left alone and educated that if you leave, you have the privileges of not being alone, but there are support from the women, other organization. So in that way, it can help. The other thing what I realized is, why is India not having a lot of divorce? There's very less divorces. And I realized it was arranged marriages. I'm like, wow, we come from a country which has arranged marriages, and it's something unheard of in the Western world. And of course, the movies are telling, and now, as you know, that we Indians are moving around. But the arranged marriage works because one of the partner is shutting up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't it something like shocking? And I'm talking about men and women who are educated because of the society pressure.
Society pressure, family pressure. I think these are all valid things. I think another point you mentioned was, with divorces, like with the prenups, why are people able to amicably walk away in other countries and not here? I also think family is way more involved in India than in most Western countries.
True.
Right? So like they're always saying, no, you take this, or you do this, or she's not allowed to do that. Whereas if it was just between a woman and a man and, two partners, they know what's going on in their relationship. They might be able to have those discussions and actually walk away amicably, but there might be a mother-in-law involved who's saying, no, I'm not going to give this up. Or a mom who's saying, I absolutely want this. There are all these other factors to take into play, and it really complicates the situation.
Too many people in the relationship.
Exactly, in a way that in a lot of Western cultures doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't. Wow. So the other thing that I heard, is the highest amount of extramarital affairs is also prevailing in the country here. But we have got 1.3 billion population, and they found out that arranged marriages is one of the reasons.
It does not surprise me at all.
Okay.
It's sad. It's heartbreaking that's what people feel like they have to resort to. But if you can't choose the person you want to be with, you're never going to have an inherent respect. Not never, but it is much more difficult to have this inherent level of respect and value, right? This is someone that has been forced upon you. You've not chosen them, versus when you had to court someone and get to know them slowly and have experienced an emotion, a wide range of emotions about them, and have shown up for them in different capacities. I think you just value that differently.
Wow. Are you going to do arranged marriage, Ashni?
I thought about it. There was definitely a point in my time where I was like, I think my parents would choose well for me. And my mom sent me one biodata, and I was like, you know what? I take that all back. I will never, ever let my parents arrange me. Don't even send me anyone. Just took one.
Okay. Describe me that one.
I think she just was like, oh, he's a neurosurgeon, so he'll be great, and did not take anything else into account. And I was like, I think I was expecting my mom to really filter through and bring me someone phenomenal, and it was just the opposite. I was like, this is not someone that seems like they have a personality outside of their work, and I'm someone that is very dynamic and has so many different interests. Or I walk red carpets, and I'm like, this person would not be happy at a red carpet, and there has to be some level of understanding and excitement about the same hobbies, and that just didn't exist. And I was like, okay, we are not looking at this from the same filters. You're just looking at a career, and I'm looking at so much more.
Your mom actually knew that you're not gonna take it, so she just randomly picked for you.
I mean, if that's the case, fine, props to her, but I don't know.
Okay, Ashni, when you think about women empowerment, what comes to your mind?
Oh my gosh, there is so much. But I think the biggest thing for me in terms of women empowerment is everything that helps them step into their power. There are so many women I still see today, even in America, that make themselves smaller in rooms because they were told they need to be soft spoken or not put themselves out there, or that they're shy, or they're being constantly judged by the way they look or what they're wearing. And I can't wait to see a world in which women can exist freely without the shackles of all of these anxieties that men don't have to think about.
Okay, I like that answer actually. Um, Especially when I think of women entrepreneurs, right? And the life they lead, they actually have reached to a point where they're not able to find a life partner. Either they are too dwelled upon their career and not concentrating or giving time for their personal relationship. Where can we find the balance?
Honestly, I don't think that's the case. What I find is that women these days are so well balanced. They can manage their careers. They have these beautiful social networks. They take care of their bodies. They dress well. They speak well and present themselves so beautifully. And they have hobbies. And I find that most women are putting themselves out there, at least from my friends, are putting themselves out there looking to date and are struggling to find men that can be equal partners in the same capacity, right? Like if I'm going to make just as much money as you, then I'm hoping that you're going to take on just as much emotional labor and domestic labor as me, and you're going to be an equal partner. And I think that where women have excelled in the last like 20 to 50 years beyond what anyone imagined, men have relatively remained stagnant. And that's because they had no motivation to, or no reason to improve in all of these different ways.
Or no support, maybe?
Or no support, right? I think that's also a big one, is we have to also raise these men. It doesn't just happen overnight. We have to be like, hey, this is how you show up for people in your life. This is how you build deep relationships. But we constantly hear about the male loneliness epidemic, right?
Correct.
I think in this day and age, men really struggle to build deep relationships and show up in a way that is not just I am providing and I'm the primary breadwinner. And once you take that off the table, and we're not talking about a man taking care of, the money in the house, they have to show up in other ways, and they've just not figured out how to do that, or they've not found the support or been taught how to. And that leads to this inherent conflict, or just something that's not aligning. So there's a big disalignment from high-powered women and high-powered men on what they're looking for.
Wow, that's why we've got so many young women single.
Exactly. And some of the most amazing women I've ever met are single.
Wow. Ashni, 4 a.m. creator, what does it do?
So like I said, we are a full-scale marketing service and agency. And so we have a talent management arm. We manage some of the premier South Asian creators in America. So we help them get brand partnerships with mainstream brands in the US, as well as brands in India. We do PR, social events, and brand placement and community building. And what our main focus is moving forward is, I think now I have personally built a beautiful network in both New York and the US, as well as Bombay and across India. And I want to help brands from India break into the US market. But I think even more so, I want to bring some of the iconic brands from the US and help them break into the India market, because it is the fastest growing economy with some of the biggest consumer power. So I think the economy in the next 10 years is going to be India, and I'm just excited to be a small part of that.
I love the vision. I love the vision. If a young woman wants to start her own career, what are the 3 advice that you would like to give her?
I think my first piece of advice would be to surround yourself with women and friends that can act as your personal board of directors. They're going to be the ones that guide you every step of the way, and that is even if you're not starting your own career. I just recently read a stat that says women that have a lot of close friends are 2.5 times more likely to have higher pay and be in positions of authority. So really building those deep connections early on with people you look up to and play important but different roles in your life is the best thing you can do for yourself. In terms of actually starting your own business, I think it's having a very clear vision on what your mission is, but being very flexible and adaptable with how you go about achieving that mission. I think, I was toying around with launching an agency in 2020 and COVID happened, and I was like, okay, obviously everything has to.
Thank you so much. Thank you.